Best cryptocurrency to invest 2018. My name's Tom Porter, and I've been making these series of videos to try to pass on knowledge as much as possible to you guys about how to invest in cryptocurrencies. This is not financial advice. This is not financial advice. Okay, let's get started. So right now there's over 1,469 cryptocurrencies out there. And this is just a little statistic that I pulled today off of coinmarketcap.com. You can see here. And this number is actually really not accurate because there's a lot of new cryptos that don't meet the criteria to be listed on CoinMarketCap itself. So this number is actually quite a bit higher. But with this 1,469 cryptos, how are you gonna know which ones are good ones to buy? This is kind of the question that I want to address in today's video. So I kind of really struggled making this video because I thought maybe I should just make a video about all the cryptos that I think are good and just kind of go over the ones that I think have a really good chance of going up. But then I was like, well, I don't really think that serves you guys very well because there's so many of them, it's literally impossible for me to go through every single one of them and give you my reasons why. I have, a timeline that's measured in years, not days. And so that puts me into a little bit of a different headspace when I'm making the decisions as to whether or not I'm going to be a buyer. When I'm out there doing my research, I'm thinking differently than a person that is a day trader, for sure. In today's video, I just want to share with you just my really simple criteria that I use to evaluate cryptocurrencies. It's really not complicated for me. I can't have complicated things in my life, so I've had to boil it down for myself, like what's really important when I'm out there and I'm doing my research. What am I really looking for? And then kind of also with that, I want to go over 3 cryptos that I think meet these criteria really well. So I want to show you my criteria, and then I kind of want to demonstrate to you what cryptos are ticking off those boxes for me in 2018 and the ones that I think are going to be a good buy. Of course, these aren't the only cryptos that I think are good and have a bright future in 2018, but I just wanted to share with you these picks because I think they really do fit these criteria and really show you why I have these things in place. Okay, so the first criteria that I look for is a team. I look at the team that is behind currency. Winners tend to keep winning. You could almost across the board just do this with any business that you're going to invest in. You almost don't have to look any deeper than the track record of the team that is behind the thing that you're thinking about investing in. To me, that is the most important thing. Now, there is a ton of talk right now about, these cryptocurrencies are autonomous organizations, right? Meaning that you're basically making an organization that is in itself decentralized. But the thing that you always have to remember that even the most decentralized currency right now, the most decentralized platforms are being built by groups of people. And so I'm interested in who those people are and what their track record is. And so the cryptos I'm going to go over here today with you, these cryptos have really strong teams behind them. A lot of the times in my mind, honestly, once I see the team and I see the team's track record, sometimes I really don't go that much deeper. I will with these currencies for sure today because I want to show you that once the team is right, like all the other criteria just kind of fall in line. So always keep that in mind. When you're out there, you find a new crypto, you find a new ICO, look at the people that are behind that ICO and what have they done in the past? What's their history, in the business world or with achievement, really of any sort? Do they have a track record of winning? Winners tend to keep winning. The second thing that I'm looking at is use case. Is there room for this decentralized currency to come in and solve a really significant problem? What problem is that? And then also, by solving that problem, can I logically draw the conclusion that this currency is going to increase in price? I think it's pretty interesting right now that there's a lot of blockchains that are really slated to solve a lot of problems, but I don't think that necessarily translates into an increase in the price of the currency that is on that particular platform. The one that comes to mind is Tether, right? Tether is a cryptocurrency that's designed to basically be tethered to the US dollar. They have mechanisms in place to be able to devalue the currency if it gets above the dollar, right? Or increase the value of the currency if it gets below the dollar. That's a currency that solves a really significant problem. There is high demand to have an exchange of value that is tied to the US dollar, but that doesn't necessarily translate into an increase in the price of the currency itself. So that would be an example of something that solves a problem and a great use case, but it's not going to increase the price of the currency. So investing in the currency does you no good. Okay, and the third thing that I'm looking at here is progress. Right now, there's so many promises going on, right? you read these white papers, and I mean, you can almost copy and paste the white papers from one crypto to the next because they think they're going to be the replacement for the financial system. They're the next big thing, right? And a lot of these things that they're going over in these white papers are just promises. So what you want to be able to do is look at what they're saying their use case is, and then what are the milestones that they've been ticking off to get to that use case. The actual results, right? That's what we want to see. So these things come in the form of partnerships. You know, when you see these coins that are being used by large corporations in certain use cases, that is a huge good sign of positive progress. A lot of times these cryptos will be talking about, well, we're going to have an app that's associated with, you know, our coin, and that app is going to do all of these things. Well, is the app actually built? And if the app is built, are people actually using the app? Okay, so you really have to have the ability to filter through what things are promises that haven't happened yet, and versus what things are the results. So that's really my easy 3 criteria that I look for. I'm always keeping this in the back of my mind whenever I'm doing any research. It helps me to kind of filter through and form kind of an informal rank of where each crypto lands given these 3 criteria. So knowing these 3 criteria, I want to talk really quickly about some cryptos that I think kind of tick all these boxes, you know, for 2018. And they're the reasons that I've actually taken a position in them early on, which is cool because now I don't have to stress so much about whether or not I need to make a bigger position. You know, later on down the road, as these things increase in value, to me, it's harder and harder to make the decision whether or not you should put some money on the table, right? And so that's why I really do believe, you know, it's a really good time right now to be buying cryptocurrencies because the amount of commitment that you have to have early on when at these low prices is extremely low. Like, this is the difference, right, between people who saw Bitcoin at under 10 cents and could load up on Bitcoin versus now, you know, Bitcoin is between $10,000 and $20,000, and you're having to make that mental calculation. Is it gonna go to $1 million? It's a lot easier to put in a couple hundred, a couple $1,000s into something that's 10 cents rather than putting it in when it's already had a huge run up in price. So it really does pay to be early. Your basis in these things is really a big deal. And that's the reason why I think now is a brilliant time to be in cryptocurrencies, but you need to have that timeline that's measured in years. Because I'm an investor in these things and I have that timeline that is, you know, at least north of 5 years, I'm not so caught up in the day-to-day fluctuations of price right now. I'm only buying things that I think the price today is going to be dwarfed by the price that it will be trading for in 5 to 10 years. So that's where I'm at. All right, so with that, let's take a look at my picks here. So my first pick is Stellar Lumens. The reason is because the founder of Stellar, Michaela, his track record is incredible. It's win after win after win. So I'm gonna play a video for you really quickly. You can just hear straight from him what his track record is really briefly, and let you come to your own conclusions.
For those who might not know, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Let's see. So I've been a programmer for a really long time. The first thing I did that was popular was this file sharing network called eDonkey, which was actually really popular in Korea at the time. Yeah, I think actually like half our users were Korean for some reason. And after that, I did a few other things, and then when I learned about Bitcoin, I got super excited about it. Started the first Bitcoin exchange, Mt. Gox. Unfortunately, I only ran it for a few months and then kind of sold it / gave it to this guy in Japan who ended up being a little incompetent, which was pretty unfortunate. And then after that, started to think about other ways to solve the consensus problem that is proof of work for Bitcoin. Came up with the idea that led to Ripple. Left there, and then eventually decided to still work on the problem and started Stellar.
So to me, it really doesn't get any better than that, right? I mean, the guy started basically the first Bitcoin exchange, which was the largest for a long time. As soon as he left, it completely went to crap and got hacked. But he didn't have anything to do with that. He was the one who built that into the exchange in the first place, right? Then he basically went and founded Ripple, and Ripple is, you know, one of the top market cap cryptocurrencies in existence right now. Then he's unsatisfied with the direction that was going, and he split off and he started Stellar. So I'll bet you can kind of guess the likelihood of him succeeding with what he's trying to do in Stellar is pretty huge based on his previous track record. Stellar definitely ticks that team box, right? That track record team box. Now, the only kind of hang up with Stellar for me is that its use case is really ambitious, okay? It's basically trying to be a way to exchange value across borders for every single person. It takes the entire complication out of the banking system, right? The banking system is this big convoluted hierarchy of things that allows people to exchange value across the entire planet right now. But wouldn't be a video without my dog growling or snoring, so she's growling to somebody now. But the banking system is this big convoluted thing, right? And just the simple act of trying to send money from one side of the earth to the other side of the earth, even given the internet and all the capability we have today, is actually a very expensive and unreliable process. Stellar's really been designed to simplify that process down to something that is extremely quick, extremely reliable, and can get done with barely any money. And he really has a grasp, in my mind, on what the actual problem is in the financial system. And he's designing his currency and his platform very specifically to address those issues. So I think it nails the use case completely. Now, as far as progress goes, it's really easy to see, in my mind, the progress that they're making, because the Stellar network is in place, right? It actually works. There are Stellar wallets. There are people that are using Stellar to exchange real value right now. And it seems like every single day I'm reading in the news of a new partnership that they've made. Like the first one that comes to mind is IBM, right? I don't think people really know how deep of an implication it has for Stellar to be partnered with IBM. Stellar is like the poster child for ticking all my boxes and all my criteria for something that I'm really bullish on. Okay, so the next pick for me in 2018 for a cryptocurrency is the Basic Attention Token, or people call this BAT for short. So BAT's founder has a track record that is almost equally as ridiculous. The things that this guy has worked on have had wide acceptance and great success. So I'm gonna just play a really quick clip of Brendan Eich talking about the things that he's actually done.
I'm Brendan Eich. I created JavaScript at Netscape, then founded the Mozilla project in Firefox. I'm now doing Brave as a new browser and a new system for properly valuing user attention.
Okay, as you can see, like, you're probably using one of the products that this guy has actually been behind and designed. And so, I mean, he's a winner, right? And winners tend to win. And so I like that a lot. Now, the use case for this thing, for me, couldn't be more strong. There are other tokens that are out there that are trying to solve this problem of directly monetarily compensating the people that are creating the content in a more fair way than the way that advertising is actually happening today. So they're definitely not the only one in this game. And to me, there's no more direct connection than what you're looking at on your browser right now. And so that's what the Brave browser is designed to do. It's basically designed to anonymously track what every single person is actually looking at. Where do they actually spend their time when they're on the internet? And then turn that into compensation for the people that create the content, rather than the model that's going on now, which is basically advertisers are being paid to push ads to people that they really don't want to see. So there's this like middleman that's taking money from people and then using that money to throw content in front of people. That comes at the cost of increased bandwidth and data usage, and also all the way down to power consumption. It's costing you money every month. This is an extremely noble mission to me and kind of hits my heart as a person that is a content creator. And so let's talk about progress. This browser has already been built. In fact, I have it installed on my computer and I've been using it for a pretty long time. But, you know, of course, I'm a person that's learned about the browser because I'm interested in the token. So that's really not fair to say that it's starting to be noticed and take off. But based on my experience with the browser, it just functions a lot better than the other browsers that I use, right? Which is funny to me because Brendan is the guy that designed the other browsers that I'm using. He's already designed the competition for the thing that he's doing next. I think it's a great pick for 2018. I think it has a huge future ahead of it. All right, so my last pick on this video, I don't want to go over every single pick of cryptos that I think are, you know, have a bright future, because if I did that, this video would be hours long. But my last pick is Dash. Dash has a really strong team and they have a very large team. So it's very difficult for me to like go over and pick out the qualifications of each person that's on their team. But the thing that I want to say about Dash's team, and the reason that it hits my criteria for a good team, is that they have this ingenious treasury scheme built into the way that Dash works. Basically, in a nutshell, how it works is that as the usership of Dash increases, so more people use it, there's more transactions per day, a certain percentage of that money in the transactions actually gets redirected back to the treasury. And the treasury is an autonomous organization, and they can use that money to fund development and fund marketing and really further the cause of Dash. So it becomes this like self-fulfilling prophecy. And there's actually other people that are taking notice of how well this has been working for Dash, and they're beginning to implement it into what they're doing. Right off the bat, I can think of Cardano is actually thinking about doing something along these lines because they've seen how well this works. All right, so now let's talk use case. I think Dash has such a good shot at becoming widely accepted and widely used because its use case is really simple. It's not trying to be every single thing to everybody. It's just simply saying the concept of cash, right, of actual cash, like fiat cash. We're taking that concept and we're putting it into a digital currency. We're digitizing that concept all the way down to inheriting the characteristics that digital cash has. They're designing that into the Dash platform. Anonymity. That has to be a really big part of Dash because that's pretty much the thing that is built into regular cash. Let's say that you're going to tip somebody. People want to be tipped in cash. Why is that? Because it's extremely hard to track, and a lot of people don't actually report that to the IRS, right? Because you get some cash from somebody, you can turn around and you can respend that cash. It's very hard to track that, right? It's very anonymous. This is what Dash has realized, that if they're going to gain wide adoption, if they're going to be a platform that people actually use, this needs to be a part of the blockchain. And so they've designed this anonymous characteristic into Dash. And that really contributes to this use case, right? This use case of it trying to just be the digital version of cash. The other thing that Dash has going for it, in my mind, is that the amount of Dash that are going to be in existence is capped. Much like Bitcoin, you know, the reason that Bitcoin has had such a huge increase in price is a lot of it is driven by scarcity. And Dash understands this, and they're doing this as well. So even though there is a lot of Dash in circulation and there will be more added, that quantity, that ultimate quantity of Dash in existence is actually known. Since the amount is capped, it's going to have that same scarcity that Bitcoin have. I love that. All right, and so progress, you know, for me, seeing the progress of Dash is just really simple. All you have to do is look at their ever increasing transactions per day number, and you can very clearly see the growth that's happening there. That's the reason that Dash ticks all the boxes for me, and it's something that I'm extremely excited about in 2018. And whenever, you know, there's a huge reduction in price, I'm in there and I'm buying more of it. So my name's Tom Porter, and this is my really simple criteria for evaluating what cryptocurrencies to invest in 2018, and gives you some of my picks. And I just really hope that this answers the question for you guys that have been asking about what cryptocurrencies to invest in. Hope this helps.